It is in the Malaysian dream to own a home. A home is associated with stability, security, and a stepping stone to a greater future and provides a better life. However, according to the latest day, this dream becomes more difficult to accomplish. At Kedah, houses seem to be cheaper, but the income of the residents is minimal. At the same time, in Selangor, there are lots of jobs, but the prices of houses are increasing at a rate that is much higher than that of wages. So why is housing not so affordable in both these states? The economic factors that lead to this imbalance that we shall be discussing in this video are the supply and demand, price mechanism, market failure, government intervention, interest rates, income level, and externalities. Examining the housing prices in Malaysia, one can observe that the prices have caught up so much in terms of appreciation both in the major cities and the smaller towns and the rural locations. As it stands now, the average house price in Malaysia have been pegged at 486,678 per unit in the year 2024. Furthermore, according to Table 1, the price to income ratio of a house in Malaysia stands at 4.51 times the median multiple, making it belong to the category of seriously unaffordable countries according to the median multiple approaches. The main cause of such condition was offensive mismatch between housing supply and the demand due to rising expectations between households and developers.
The Malaysian housing market experienced notable shift influenced by economic recovery after the pandemic, ongoing urbanization, and steady population growth in key states such as Selangor and Kedah. Terrace house are such a predominant form of landed residential property in Malaysia, which reflect these broader trends differently in each state, driven by differences in demand, affordability, and population pressure. This comparison explores the dynamic of terrace house prices and population change in Kedah and Selangor from 2020 through 2025 to illustrate how these factors interact. First and foremost, we can see that population growth fundamentally shaped the housing demand. This figure indicates Selangor's dominance in terms of population size, that roughly 3 plus times the population of Kedah by 2025 are a reflection of stronger migration and urban attraction. Population growth in Selangor naturally greater pressure on housing stock, contributing to robust residential growth and stronger market activity. Nationwide data and state-level median transaction provide useful insight for the national terrace house segment. Average price gradually over the early 2020s with slight adjustment in recent years. This indicates that an investment in a Selangor terrace house during this period will have higher than Kedah serve as a more stable, accessible option for middle to low income earners seeking landed property.
Price mechanism and market failure. In this part, we will investigate the key factors that relate to structural diagram of house pricing consists of population, inflation, liquidity, and investment. Number 1. Population. There is two-sided relationship between housing and population according to Mulder 2006. This implies that even though the housing demand is dependent on the growing populations, the housing supply with the appropriate and affordable houses is also significant to supply. The local interactions between housing prices and populations are complex to identify, such that factors with simultaneous relationship and with patently interdependent relationship. Even to study these factors by operating standard econometric models cannot resolve the multiple identification issues. Number 2. Inflation. The price of houses is critical in the inflation signaling as a substantial portion of personal prosperity is institutionalized in houses. Annery and Collery 2002 have considered how inflation affects the household equity in the long run. For example, how houses price correlates with inflation factor in terms of prices of non-housing goods and services. Inflation hedging capacity of real estate was also considered in some investigations of early up to recent studies. Number 3. Liquidity. The conventional financial theory forecasts that the amount of liquidity and liquidity risk are both price, and empirical studies have supported the claim that the impacts of liquidity on the asset prices are statistically significant, as well as economically important, since it can regulate the traditional risk of measures and the characteristic of the asset. The implication of the liquidity or illiquidity risk can influence the required return by the investors, cost of capital by corporations, and how the real resources of the economy are allocated. It is the study on liquidity and asset pricing, particularly in microstructure and trading, is vast. We are only commencing our discussion on liquidity with respect to particular asset, which is real property. Liano, Xiao, Lim, and Wong 2015 postulated that such effects of globalization as the infusion of foreign liquidity in the real estate market create a strong implication on the direction of regional prices to the housing market, and therefore they highly recommended the policymakers to intervene in alleviating the pressure. Number 4. Investment. This is a crucial aspect of housing matters that is traditionally linked to the house market bubbles, where the contribution of the real estate investors is hugely large. Practically half of the purchase mortgage originations were tied to investors, and they were the greatest sin of housing booms, and but the sharp decline in house price will worsen the balance sheet of all neighborhoods, and therefore poses a risk in slipping residential investment and consumer demand in the property market. Although Lacouville Neri 2010 also concurred that housing prices and residential investment in the housing sector do not merely happen to be the passive outcome of the macroeconomic activity, but they may happen to be one of the main drivers of business cycles. Such significance of investment in the housing sector has been marked by the discovery by Wen 2001 that capital formation, particularly in the residential sector, directly leads to GDP growth, which leads to capital formation in other lines of business. They are also finding that is previously emphasized by Green 1997, who cautioned against funneling capital by the policymaker. He examined the price mechanism to realize why houses are becoming unaffordable, whereby the price movement in the market is established. The price to income ratio is one of the measures seen. It is a comparison in which house prices are pegged on the household income. In Kedah, the ratio stands at 4.78, that is, the homes are relatively unaffordable. The average house price is pegged at a bit higher than RM280,000. Selangor has a ratio of 5.28, making homes to be seriously unaffordable with an average house price of an approximation of 6,800 ringgit. When this ratio is greater, the prices of houses are increasing at a faster rate compared to the rate of which wages are increasing, due to the fact that the housing sector has been facing a market failure. Kedah has a slow increase in the house prices, yet stagnant wages. Therefore, houses are also cheap, but even then, it is not affordable to the comfortable range of the majority of the families. The problem is higher in Selangor because of property speculation, skyrocketing construction costs, and scarcity of land in the urban areas. These contribute to the increased prices at a rate that is far above the growth of income. Therefore, the outcome is that the market is not able to offer affordable homes to where the people are really required.
Government intervention is required when the market collapses. The state government in Kedah came up with RMK, with it being divided into three such as rumah kos rendah, rumah kos sederhana rendah, and rumah kos sederhana. All this was to serve majorly B40 and M40 families. Nevertheless, financing is still a challenge in many households belonging to the M40 group, given that maximum household income that can be spent are limited to RM5,000 due to low monthly income. In the meantime, in Selangor has Rumah Selangorku program generate large-scale affordable residence. Nevertheless, low-cost unit demand keep being in excess of supply, particularly in cities. Bank Negara work with interest rate of mortgage loan, which is influenced by the rate. Currently, the OPR of 3%. The higher OPR causes the cost of loan to increase, making it difficult to purchase home. The lower OPR leads to the cheaper loan and the hypothetically increased affordability. In Kedah, the sensitivity of household to the variation in interest rate is greater due to the lower incomes. Housing is unaffordable even with high incomes in Selangor, and the price of property are very high.
The housing problems not only have implications on people but also have larger externalities on the society. In Kedah, the youth leave their hometown in the state of Selangor where the prospect of employment are better and the rural population is left to die away, and the most houses are left vacant, lowering population growth in the community. In Selangor, at the same time, traffic jam caused by the concentration of population, high cost of life, and urban sprawl that resulted in deforestation, population, and the disappearance of greenlands. These wide expenses demonstrate the fact that the issue of housing goes way beyond the affordability of a house that influences not only the environmental comfort of the state but the social comfort. Finally, Kedah and Selangor are two opposite poles of the Malaysian problem of housing. Kedah presents an example of availability of homes with low incomes. Selangor demonstrates a situation in which the incomes are bigger yet the prices of housing are well beyond the affordability. This combined to show some national imbalance in the fact that the housing market and the true financial capacity of the people are out of balance. Malaysia requires a smarter government intervention, which is better land and price control, housing development along with real needs, and monetary policies that safeguard the low-income household. A house is not just a structure, but it contains dreams, family, and destinies. It is the right of every Malaysian to have a place that called home.